Hi, Leo Dreger here. I want to talk about a tool that I use when I do web application pen testing that I actually run on the Kali operating system called Directory Buster. It comes out of the OWASP project, and it's a pretty good tool. It's really straightforward, really easy to use. You can find the tool by going to the Kali Linux menu, going over to web applications, and poking around in here. And one place to find it, probably of many, is the web crawlers section. And you can see Directory Buster right there. So once you open up the OS project, you basically go right to the target URL and go ahead and put in the target. We're going to use http:// www.linuxwarrior.com, and you can do colon 80 or not. It'll work just fine without it. But just make sure that you actually incorporate the HTTP in there as well, or else it'll tell you to put it in. You can use just GET request or switch between header and GET request. You can throttle the number of threads. 10 is relatively slow, so I'd recommend going a little bit faster. Since I own and control the server, and you should be testing this out on servers that you own and control, you can go much, much faster. But clearly, if you have an intrusion detection system on the system and you're doing 200, 400 plus threads a minute, it'll get really, really, really aggressive really, really quick. The next, you can go to scanning type, and you can do a list-based brute force or pure brute force. If you do pure, then all of that gets grayed out, or you can go to list-based brute force. And before we do this, I want to kind of highlight exactly how this is working. So you can go into list information here, and this tells you the default lists that are included within the Directory Buster application. And so one easy way to find these is basically just to search for these different lists in here. And so one way I like to do this is actually just to search for directory list. So just to prove something real quick, let's do locate space directory dash list. And this will prove that there are a whole bunch of directory lists in which you can choose from. Otherwise, what I recommend is just kind of highlighting this, doing a control C to copy it, close out, and then pasting that in your list type. Or you can specifically browse for them if you want to. But again, if you don't know the where exactly in your hard drive these are, well, then that's where you do the locate command. It'll find it for you. You can brute force directories. You can brute force files. You can be recursive or not. You can start at a particular directory if you know which one you're working with, and you can choose specific backend database management system applications like PHP or ASP, ASPX, and things like that. And then basically set it and forget it. Go ahead and click on start. And it looks like we goofed here a little bit. Sorry, I can't open the file with a directory list in here. And basically, the quick reason why is because I didn't put the full path. So let's do locate directory list. And let's go find it exactly where they are. And you can see that they're in user shared directory buster. So actually in word lists. So let's use the full path and then put that in. Otherwise, what you can do is just browse to it if you really want to take the easy way out. So this is in user. In this version of Kali, it's in user, share, go. If you hit D here, it'll take you to directory or to the Ds, and then you will find Directory Buster not too far behind. So here we go, Directory Buster. Click on icons, not on names. Go to your word list, and then go ahead and pick it up. Since this is a Unix system that I'm actually testing, and I already know that, I'm just going to go with lowercase, and we'll just do small. I'm really just arbitrarily picking anything right now just to prove that this works. And what I'm proving here is it'll actually give you the full path. So I could have just pasted this in here if I wanted to, but nonetheless, I browsed to it, and you can get to the right link. Most people give up right here when they don't know where to find the word list, but that's, you shouldn't stop just there just because you can't find something. You got to learn how to find it. So like I said, I showed you that with the locate command locate space directory dash list, and that'll tell you user share, dirbuster, etc. Okay, so then go ahead and click start. And now let's set it and forget it. This is where you go get a cup of coffee, you take a break, you come back a couple hours later, because it will take some time to finish. And I'm already pulling directories from here. So it found index.php, WP content, it found the mailman, Piper mailed, what WordPress includes. So clearly this is a WordPress site. Found a CGI bin, and there could be variants in there. And more importantly, it also tells you the response here. And these responses are pretty important because, like, a great example here is index.php. This is, now we got a bunch of pop-ups here. So let's go back. So you got the response here. So these 301s are redirects, where 403 is going to be like a permission denied. So each one of these actually means something, and you could easily Google these, in terms of, what is a 403 error. And I guess just for posterity, let's just do that real quick. So I'll go here, go to Google, and do a, what is a 403 error? Okay, and then it'll tell you 403 forbidden errors in HTTP status code, which means that accessing the page or resource is forbidden. Basically, in long and short here, because the permissions on the file or directory do not allow you to do it. So if you didn't know what a 301 is, you could go right back, switch 403 to 301. Whoops. And basically, move permanently or explained, etc., etc., etc. So that's how you research those and get familiar with those. And it'll tell you the size of the file as well. So it tells you some basic stuff. I found 18 files, or 18 directories, 400 and some odd files, and it tells you the type right here. If you want to sort by, directory or file types, it'll actually tell you. Also, you can see something like index.php is there. So if you wanted to try SQL injection from there, you could do an index.php $ID = 1 and try poking and prodding the site that way. Or if I wanted to go to WordPress content post, I could try going after the backend architecture, the PHP right there. And it's telling you the speed down here, the parse queue, the total requests, and generally the time that it's actually going to finish the take. And as you can see, as I'm gaining a lot here, this is going to run for some time. So I'm not going to wait for this program to run, just because literally this video would probably be a couple hours long. Okay. So you can pause the program, run the program again, stop, start if you want to, look at it. You can do tree view. I kind of like this a little bit better because of the hierarchical nature of the directory structure. So you can see something like student or academics, or if you found something like login, username, certain things are going to pop out a little bit more than others. So you can become familiar with what's popular and what's not. Also, you can go to errors, okay? So you can kind of get an idea of how this thing's actually being threaded as it goes through. So I got a lot of timeouts here, and that's mostly because of how it's trying things in the word lists. And guessing things, right? So you can pay attention to the errors. I got 430 in just a couple minutes here, and that's probably going to go skyrocket. Especially if you're doing something like brute force, by definition, you're just trying all possible combinations until you get somewhere. So I expect to have basically, 99.999% errors and then one match. So, errors are good in that sense. Just let them run. And then at the very end, you can stop it or let it run, etc., etc. And then you can go back to the, the scan information over here. You can see if you just want to pick it up from a particular directory or not. Okay, so it'll tell you the percent complete, etc., etc. So this is a great way to kind of learn about the destination target that you have, and really kind of take your intimacy with the web applications to the next level. Just like anything, there very well could be false positives here, and you'd want to quantify that. But I mean, I tell you, if you really want to learn directory structures, there's no better way than to use a directory brute forcing tool like Directory Buster, because there's only 59 million possible combinations that this is going to try, and how many do you have to learn before you get the idea, right? And then at the very, very end, once this tool would, in theory, complete running, then you can get a report here. You can get a text-based report. You can just save it to XML, comma separated value, or choose the location that you want to save the report to. And then, of course, so if we do something like, desktop and then generate your report, it'll go ahead and save that report there, and then you can get an idea of what's in it. So here's your full text. You have sample lists, XML, and comma separated value. And that's really it. That's by far the easiest way to start learning how these directories are built on the different types of systems. And the more you do this, the more experience you'll get with what looks normal and what becomes an anomaly. And the more anomalies you see, the more things start popping out at you. So literally time on the console here is how you learn. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter.